everyone. Welcome to the UVD Weekly Wrap-Up, the show where the team from UrbanVinylDaily.com goes over everything there is to know in the designer toy, art, street art, and Sofubi world. I'm your host, Travis Likens.
And I'm Ben Pierce.
And this is episode 10.
X. Because X gonna give it to you.
Which we have entitled X Gon' Give It To You. Not in honor of Deadpool, but in fact, in honor of...
Our 10th episode.
Our 10th episode. So, it's... big week for designer toys as far as things going on. If you happen to be in San Diego, it's a little town, the south part of California.
California.
And
swimming pools and movie stars.
Yeah. About every time around this year, there's a big event called San Diego Comic-Con. And guess what? We're not there again.
Or are we?
Nope, we're not.
No.
This was not pre-recorded by that much. So we're just chilling here, kind of taking in the news as we see it and taking in the excitement of Comic-Con from the sidelines, per usual. But we'll talk a little more about San Diego Comic-Con towards the end of the episode. We'll just kind of go ahead and roll on through into toy news. If Ben, you want to take over from here?
Sure, I'd love to. So the first item is an item that we promised from last week. And Jermaine Rogers finally revealed one of the pieces that'll be. It is the fourth and final iteration of the Creeping Deity figure, in that this is the Dryad figure, which looks like wood grain. Some people think it's chocolate, whatever your imagination wants it to be. There's only 25 of these, with probably only 3 or 4 held back for internet customers after SDCC.
Yep.
And these are $150 each at booth 4532.
And it's a really cool looking piece. I've seen these in person in other colorways. Pretty good size resin piece, and it was originally sculpted by J-Roo, correct?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, so multiple facets of the toy world all coming together to make one cool looking resin. So it's been a pretty good run for this figure, so hopefully there's more of them in the future.
Except there's not. This is the fourth and final colorway.
Fourth and final. You did say that. So I guess if this is the one, if you've been waiting to get one of these, now's your time.
Though there seems to be a trend. There was a bigger version that he had a couple of years ago at his shows. There was SDCC. Then the iteration now is a smaller version.
Yeah.
What if it just keeps getting smaller and smaller?
Smaller and smaller until it's like a pencil topper.
Mm-hmm.
So you just carry it around on your pencil.
for the pet of the Creeping Deeros.
Yeah, I mean it's cool. It's a cool figure regardless. So hopefully we see it in some fashion in the future, or maybe he's moving on to his new figure, which he kind of teased and is going to release at SDCC, correct?
As far as we know, he hasn't said much more about it unless he's saying something later today.
Yeah, or I mean, he may just leave it for preview night or actually opening, tomorrow. So.
Yeah, so that people don't know everything before they get there.
Yeah, so regardless, make sure to stop by booth 4532. Check it out. He's got a ton of prints there. He's got other pieces as well. He's not going to be there still, correct?
Correct.
So you're not going to get to say hi to him, but you can say hello with your dollars because he has plenty of items to pick up and for your collection. So moving on, though, we have brand new news from one True Slithers, the customizer known for his really cool like metallic paintwork and almost like it's kind of hard to describe, really. It's cool. When he does it on soft vinyl, it looks really, really good. And this piece that we're about to talk about is actually a perfect example of his style. So he's currently working with Toy Sabian on a Yoga Fogai, which we probably just butchered again.
Or we were speculating that with UFO being the first and there's UFO in the character, maybe it's UFO guy.
Yeah, maybe we don't know what we're talking about. If you know how to say that correctly and you want to send us like a sound file or something, let us know. Just send it over to urbanvinyldaily@gmail.com. But regardless, this piece, though, features True Slithers custom paintwork, which features an awesome, like, in the heart piece that's in the middle of the sculpt, there is, it's red, like a heart. And it's like multiple facets of red. So like it transitions and fades and, and it does that throughout the piece in different colors in his like signature kind of color that he uses, which is like greens and blues and reds and yellows. And he really did a really awesome job on this piece. So we really wanted to talk about it and make sure that he gets the kind of props that he deserves, because on this piece, it really stands out. And truthfully, it's one of his favorite, or his of my favorite pieces from this artist. And he's done some killer stuff in the past, but this piece to me is a step above and really was worth showing off and talking about. They're like 13 inches tall, something like that. No word on if this is sold or for a commission or if he's going to have more of these for releases. He hasn't said anything like that yet, but well worth checking out. You can check him out on Instagram at True Slithers. That's TRUSLITHS, I believe. I'll put the correct thing down here underneath our video, but very cool. Check him out. Hopefully we'll learn more in the future on that piece, and hopefully we'll see more custom versions of the figure because it's still a relatively early release. So more stuff hopefully coming your way.
So third item as we return to SDCC is Scribes Customs at Cardboard Spaceship that are on the platform of the Thimble Stump Hollow figures that were released last year through Cardboard Spaceship. So varying prices. You may have to make a beeline after you go to some of your other favorite booths.
After you get punched in the face at the Hasbro booth?
Hasbro, or even Jermaine's booth if people want to punch each other out. Or Power Rangers. People may love Power Rangers this year.
Who knows? You never know what people are going to love. Like
Funko.
From what I've understood, it's every year it's a little bit different what people are looking for and enjoying. But after you get punched out at one of those locations, make sure to head over to...
I don't know their booth.
We don't know their booth, but it's Cardboard Spaceship.
Spaceship.
Yeah, that word.
Again, people have not donated enough or at all for Travis to learn how to speak.
Yep. So still learning over here, guys. But these pieces, they're all hand done, correct?
Yes. All hand painted.
Very, very cool. Very, very cool. If you're a fan of Scribe, then I'm sure you're already trying to figure out how you're going to make your way over there or con somebody into picking one up for you.
I think there are about 20 of these.
So
there's a wide variety.
Yeah. So I think it's very cool that he's doing that, and it's very cool that they actually are creating them, letting him, put them out at SDCC. So it's always cool to see an artist, take on somebody else's design and platform and kind of make it their own. So
add some different character to them.
While you're there, grab one of those exclusive rumpuses. Correct? SDCC.
Yeah, with the song download.
Yeah. So get over there, grab as many things as you can get in your hands
after you pay them.
Well, yeah, you got to pay them, but you can like go up to the counter, like, I got them all in my hands right now. So
just don't drop them. Otherwise you're buying broken merchandise.
Yep. Don't drop. Do not drop. The next thing we have is actually from SDCC as well, but there's very few details because it has just been revealed as of a couple hours ago, but it's actually the fact that Alex Pardee and Greg Arnowitz, have created the Wyatt resins. They're available at SDCC booth number 5502. They are a limited edition of 5 pieces, and they're all hand cast by Greg and based on Pardee's design. And the one that they have looks to be like a clear blue resin with like something in the middle that resembles an eye, kind of like cast in the middle. So it's like floating or like suspended in the resin. So looks really cool. They didn't provide a whole lot of details as far as, pricing or anything like that. But it's a really cool looking figure. And if you're a fan of Alex Pardee and his designs, it's a great chance to grab another 3D version of his artwork. I mean, I personally love his 2D artwork, and a lot of his like bunny width type things. So I know it's something I was excited to see. And if you happen to be at San Diego, make sure to head over to 5502 and grab one before they are gone.
And something I'll sneak in here while Travis grabs our Throwback Thursday toy review is that today on Facebook, Scribe started talking about his book, The Scribble Squad, that will be released in September. I guess he encouraged everyone for pre-orders, since as pre-orders come, the more books are made, popularity increases. So if you're interested in the book, pre-order it. I think it's $10 on Amazon.
$10, that's it?
I think so. That's what he said.
Wow, that's super reasonable. Because that's the hardback one, right?
Yes.
$10.
That's what he said. I was surprised, but I wasn't going to question him.
$10.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not buying that, I don't know what's like. If you're not buying that, there's something wrong. Because like you're not going to find better artwork for $10 in a book. Like that's insane. Like that's not much more than a comic book. Like a comic book's like $4 these days. So like
this is a full-fledged book.
Don't quote us on that. We'll make sure that the $10 is correct. You'll see like a flashing thing right here, but that's insane. But it's available on Amazon. So
yep.
pre-order. I don't even think they take money until it comes out, right? Is that how they
As
do
far as I
pre-orders
know.
on Amazon?
And
So
speculation aside, I've heard he's doing a book signing tour for those that are interested.
sweet. Now we're just making up stuff. No, I'm just kidding.
Based on old information.
Based on old information. So yeah, definitely check that out. If it's really $10 on Amazon, then I don't know why you're not ordering it. Make sure to head over. We'll make sure to share a link in the show notes to where you can pre-order that. So, but it is Thursday and it's time for a throwback. We're going to go back to 2013.
Only 3 years ago.
Only 3 years ago. But we're going to talk about a figure that was fairly popular when it came out. Created by one David Flores and Bic Plastics. It's actually the Death's Head Mickey, which features his Mickey-inspired design.
In stained glass form.
In stained glass form, which is, kind of the standard, well, not standard, but the style of David Flores. The figure stands roughly 10 inches tall and was $90 at the time. It's a really cool figure. I always kind of felt like this figure kind of had a, almost kind of like a Cos feel with the skull and crossbone in it. But I mean, that's just my personal opinion. I mean, it's a cool design. The figure features articulated arms on both arms, and the feet are also articulated, so they can go back and forth. The head is not articulated, in case you were wondering.
For some reason, looking at the waist, it looks like it'd be articulated, but it's just the color line.
Yeah, it's just where the color, there's two different plastics. The piece probably goes, like if we squeeze it, it looks like it's glued though. That's probably where they just pop the two separate pieces together because, they have to have a place to, break it.
Yeah.
I really like the piping throughout the figure. I feel like this could have went horribly wrong on the piece because, with all the colors behind it, the black could have bled really bad. Or if they started with black plastic, which is probably what they did, the paintwork inside of it could have went horribly wrong and could have bled all over the black. So they did a really good job with the paintwork on this figure and not having bleed across. Another really cool feature of the figure is that the teeth actually go from dark to light in the middle. So it's dark on the sides and then they kind of have a rainbow effect in the middle.
A nice fade.
Kind of really amping up that stained glass look. And it's just a really cool piece. I mean, people recognize it. People come to my house and they see it and they're like, oh, look at that. There's Mickey. It's looking really cool. But then you tell them more about the figure and then they're like, wow, that's really cool that somebody did that. So I think it's a really good conversation piece. I also really like the classic style pilot's helmet or motorcycle helmet that people sometimes wore back in the day. I think that was a really cool addition to the figure. And all in all, I like it. What about you, Ben?
I don't own it, but if I did, I think I could have passed it past the wife.
That's the test for Ben. Can I get this one by the wife? You can probably find these at some designer toy stores still. I mean, there was a bunch of colorways that came out throughout the year. If you don't know, there's other David Flores pieces that are currently still available. There's one at SDCC at the DKE Disperse booth. And that's from Black Book Toys, their new figure that they've created. So there's plenty of David Flores stuff floating around out there. But if you really want this figure, I'd say Google around at your favorite designer toy stores. If they don't have it, then there's always eBay. I like it. Good job, Bic Plastics. Good job, David. Hopefully we'll see more work from you guys in the future. Some new stuff that maybe we'll talk about, not old Throwback Thursdays. But we love the Throwback Thursdays. If you're new to the designer toy world, we did a review of this on UVD Toys back in UVD.urbanvinyl.daily.com, sorry. Back in 2013 when the figure came out. So there's a review there. There's also, if you just search the site, you'll find plenty of the different colorways that were also available. This is the original colorway, which is the classic Mickey Mouse inspired look, similar to this other figure that's inspired by Mickey Mouse as well. So, but all in all, I give this a solid 4.5 bears out of 5. What about you, Ben?
I see we were back to the bear system.
Yeah, we're trying to get back on that bear system.
After we mentioned sweat droplets last week.
Yeah. So where are you at, Ben?
I'll go 4.5.
4.5. You got it. Certified 4.5 bears out of 5 from UVD. But that kind of wraps up the Throwback Thursday. Make sure to check it out on different websites and such. Try to grab one for your collection. Hopefully you don't have to pay more than $90. So if you do, you'll have to watch our flipper episode and be mad like we are. So,
or glad. Travis love flippers in some instances.
In some instances, I think they are good. And as a collector, I think they are bad.
So as we move on to art and prints and the like, our first piece is from Tristan Eaton and Pangea Seed. Some of you may remember Pangea Seed in their efforts to stop or fund efforts that decrease shark finning and abuse to sharks and marine mammals.
Yeah, they've
had
had
animals.
They've had a lot of art shows and such around that as well. Really cool stuff. I mean,
through Tristan, the proceeds for this print actually go towards the missions of Pangea Seed. And so they released yesterday the information on the 24 by 7 inch print, which I think is going to need custom framed. I don't know standard frames.
Yeah, that seems a little different than standard. So I'd say that's probably a custom frame.
But in true Tristan form, it's a shark with a bunch of different, very cool looking images inside of it. And so that was released today, Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for $190. Maybe a little bit expensive, but it goes towards a very good cause. You can find that at shop.pangea, Pangea, and then seed, seed.com.
Sweet. How many days is that going for?
So
that was time release.
I think it's for several days.
Several days. Quote us on that. Several days.
In all the tweets, it didn't really come through. So.
Yeah. So it's a really cool looking piece, and it goes towards a good cause. So if you're a fan of saving sharks, this is your time to buy.
Mm-hmm.
So next up, though, we have some more news coming from San Diego Comic-Con and one Mr. Luke Chu. First up, he has new pins coming out. We are in art news, so there's going to be pins in it. Pins coming out with special ed toys based on his Boba Drinkin' Boba design. Looks like he's got 2 new colorways of this pin at San Diego Comic-Con, one being the OG and one being a glow-in-the-dark version. So this is like a new thing for pins, I feel like, as of late. I've been seeing more glow-in-the-dark enamel pins.
And a third one that Luke got a little bit excited about, said it was going to be SDCC, but it's not.
Yeah, and that is a plain, no enamel pin. So it's just a metal version of the Boba Drinkin' Boba with no painted details. So
it's just the outlines of the features.
Yeah. So it's a pretty cool little piece. But that is available at the DKE booth. Booth number 5045. And they didn't give us a price.
Maybe 25, maybe 15.
No, I think it'd be like 10 to 15, somewhere in there. Don't quote us. Just stop at the booth and buy one before they're gone. Next up.
So next.
I guess Ben's going for it.
Yeah. Even though we both have UVD shirts on, the next is shirt related. So as some of you may remember, Luke is often bootlegged with veracity. So he decided a while ago to bootleg the bootleggers. So in his Unbearable clothing line debut at Giant Robot, he is releasing the I Asked for Scrambled chicken image on a shirt.
Yes. So many of you may remember, like a few years back, Luke posted a photo of a place in Japan or China where they basically had like tons of t-shirts based on his artwork. And now he's taken the upper hand, and his look way better than the bootlegs. So he didn't have a price or anything like that, but check it out. This is the first shirt, so a lot of people will be looking for it. Also, hopefully we get to see more designs that are, cool. I mean,
if anybody watches this, I would prefer the dog one. If you want to have it on our podcast, I would appreciate it very much.
A dog eating a hot dog, or
with ketchup.
A pig eating a ham.
I want the dog with ketchup. Because nobody wants a hot dog with ketchup.
Yeah, especially since that piece was originally created for Chicago Art Show, where they do not eat ketchup on their hot dog. So even more ironic. Another thing we got news on coming from Luke at San Diego Comic-Con is that he has 2 other pins releasing at Monkey King Toys. One being the original black and white bear head. The other being the hammy sandwich that we reported on earlier in the week, or earlier in the UVD weekly wrap-up. And it can be found at the Monkey King booth. They look pretty cool. If you like the bear head, this is a great chance to like pin it on your hat or wherever you want to put it. Hammy sandwich, super cool. Big fan of the pins that Luke is putting out. Glad to see him kind of branching out from just toys and artwork and joining other facets of our life. I mean,
Getting on the pin bandwagon.
Yeah, pins and shirts. I'll be happy to wear Luke's shirt. So I'm glad to see kind of more ways to support that guy. So
next item as we continue art and print related stuff is Mondo really announced 2 separate ventures that they're doing. First, they've been doing the record thing for several iterations. And this time they are tapping into the very popular movie Inside Out. So there's the happiness, there's the sadness, and you fall anywhere in between. So they're releasing albums, like 7 or 9-inch albums with the 5 emotions and several other images as the cover jackets. And in addition to that, through Cyclops prints, that they're releasing 5 of the emotions. So it's joy, happiness, sadness, disgust, and fear and anger. That 24 by 36-inch prints created by Phantom City Creative, edition of 420 with 200 being available at STCC. And they are at booth 835.
So if you're at San Diego Comic-Con, you probably have a slightly better chance of getting one of these than you would if it was released on Mondo's website.
It's a Cyclops Prince has it, but it's still the same likelihood.
And if you happen to be at home, you have the same exactly likelihood of getting it at SDCC as you do online at Mondo.
Yeah. And so the second piece of print news is Jock, who we've reported on in the past, who has a art-related book coming out through Mondo later in the year, will be in attendance through Acme Archives at the Mondo booth, signing and having for sale his Into the Garbage Chute Flyboy Star Wars inspired print at, again, booth 835, and those that were held back or allocated for online will be on Mondo at a later date.
Very cool. If you happen to be there, this is your chance. Don't miss it.
Yep.
Next up, we have some news coming our way from Blink 182. You're probably like, what the heck? Why are you guys talking about a band?
You guys are probably bored to death of hearing about Blink 182.
Bored to death. Basically, the bassist, Mark Hoppus, has some very cool basses.
That's usually what a bass player has.
Yeah. But this time, he's tapped into 2 very cool artists to create original paintwork for the basses. So one of them happens to be from Crayola, and the other one happens to be from Dabs Mila. So they took a bass and they took it apart and they painted it, and they put their designs and their work on these pieces. So it's like an original piece of art that he's out on stage taking around the country with them. I think it's a really cool, really cool thing. I'm glad to see that. He's done this in the past. One, Chase Tafoya, probably like 4 to 5 years ago, created one based on one of his famous Stars and Straps designs that he had created for Travis Barker's clothing line. And that was actually given away at the Fast Life. I forget what you had to do to win it, but it was actually given away at the store, the famous Stars and Straps store. And then later, like 2 years ago, he had Crayola create a bass that he played at a show.
I thought that was just last year.
No, it was like 2 years ago. It's been 2 years since they did the whole get back together thing. So he created the piece, Crayola did, and then the piece was actually auctioned off for charity. So really cool to see art being taken across the country, and really cool to see artwork helping people, either have a happy day or, help a charity. So very cool that he has these pieces created. Hopefully more people will be exposed to these artists and hopefully learn things about them through Blink 182 and Mark, his interest in the scene. Another thing that we noticed was some random stuff about us.
A Joe Ledbetter skate deck.
Yeah, that is tied in with Mark's podcast. That doesn't happen very often, but the Hi, My Name is Mark podcast. He looks like Joe's created some sort of skate deck.
I think it's a previous released one, and they just have one that they're
hiding somewhere
for someone to find. They also look like they had autographed hats and other stuff from the Hi, My Name is Mark.
Yep. So like they're hiding them somewhere, and then they're giving you clues on the tour, I'm assuming, right? That's kind of
or it might be Instagram, because this is SDCC related.
Oh, it's SDCC related. Okay. So if you happen to be at San Diego Comic-Con, make sure to keep a lookout for Mark Hoppus and Joe Ledbetter and other random things that they've done together, and try to find them because it's probably a chance to get something really cool for really free. So can't beat free.
Nope. Can't beat free with a stick.
Yep. So check that out. Hopefully we'll learn more from the basses, and maybe we'll also con our way into an interview to talk about the basses. We have no promises to be made, but this is what we're going to try to do.
I thought you shot me down a couple weeks ago on Blink actually listening to this podcast.
Yeah, they don't listen to the podcast, but we can pretend like we're press or something, maybe. Like
you do have microphones, so that's, I guess, half the battle.
Yeah, get out there and get an interview with them or something. So maybe we'll see if we can talk to them about art. They'll probably be more excited to talk about that than all the same music questions they've been getting as of late. So
where's Tom?
Where's Tom? Anyway, moving on to event news.
We have one event other than SDCC, and this is kind of a rehash or an iteration of something we covered last week and a couple weeks ago, is that Mr. Ewok 1 showed off the full design, full color of his MTV figure that we'd speculated on, that he produced more information on, which ends up being a 35th anniversary curated show by Mighty Jax that celebrates the MTV mascot.
Yeah, so the piece that he created is a Brainlinton version of the MTV mascot that looks like he might have used, I don't know if they're original arms or if he used the arms and legs from the Brainlinton from Mighty Jax. I'm not sure if
they look like Brainlinton ones.
Yeah, I think he might have like harvested them.
He is the source. So
yeah, so it was pretty cool to see that. I'm excited to see the other pieces from the show.
We received a random comment that apparently Jason Freeney's is very similar looking.
I was gonna talk about that, and I felt like it was interesting that in that comment, the fact that the person thought that the Brainlinton looked like Jason Freeney's work, when I'm pretty sure the Brainlinton is older, like the design itself. Now they probably had seen Jason Freeney work first, but the Brainlinton character has looked like that for years. Like
I thought he'd said that Jason Freeney was contributing to the show.
Jason Freeney is contributing to the show, and we're going to show the piece right now on the screen. And it's actually right now he's not terribly far along in it. It almost kind of looks like it's not a brain. It kind of looks like it's like intestines. That's what I kind of gathered from it.
So it's an intestinalington.
Intestinalington. But it's a really cool looking piece, and I'm excited to see once he gets further along with it. He's just kind of in the sculpting phase from the last I saw. So super cool to see these pieces and see them developing. Looks like MTV has really embraced the show. I'm assuming that's who's been filming the people, because
I'd say so.
We've seen filming from Slick, and we've seen filming photos from Ewok. So I'm assuming that we might get some sort of documentary about it, or maybe they'll just release a cool video that kind of shows off the pieces.
I hope it's not as good as the Rodney Mullen one.
Yeah. I'm really kind of excited to see though, because this is like, if they do this correctly, like this could really help, show off the toy scene,
Bridge the gap,
and good on Mighty Jax for helping, develop that piece. I would love to have just a standard MTV logo one. I think that'd be really cool. MTV, while not a big part of my life now, was a big part of it growing up. And as with many of you, I'm sure. So I think it'd be really cool to have that piece as a piece you can buy. So hopefully we see more release details as that 35th anniversary show comes along. And hopefully it's not just something that they're only making for the art show. So
what would happen with that piece on your shelf? As we get older, we remember MTV. And as people keep getting older, you're like, why do you have that? They just had Real World and Jersey Shore. It's like,
no, Real World was good.
when we had it, it was Beavis and Butthead and music and TRL. And
Real
they
World,
won't give it back to us.
The Real World was still on when we were kids too. I mean, I watched the Real World New Orleans like religiously. I remember for my like 8th grade summer, like it was like on all the time, and I thought that was like the coolest show in the world. And now looking back, I'm sure it probably wasn't, but at the time it seemed like it was like the coolest thing in the world. And I just have fond memories of MTV. I mean, I still remember like waiting for new music videos and like,
or TRL after school.
Yeah, TRL and like the artists they would have on. And I mean, looking back, I mean, all that stuff was like, they didn't really like listen to your votes. They just like ranked videos, like all that stuff's like made up. But back in the day, it felt like, oh man, my favorite video is number 4. Why is it number 4? My favorite video is number 5 or whatever. And I mean, just fond memories of nostalgia. So I'd be excited to have an MTV logo piece myself. So hopefully we learn more. Mighty Jacks, good on you. Good on MTV. Good on all the artists involved. Love to see more pieces. So can't wait. That kind of wraps up most of our news for the week, but we did want to kind of talk about a little bit more about SDCC. If you happen to be there, lots of stuff going on. That's the first thing we want to say. The other cool thing that is going on are outside. We have shows at Super 7. We have shows at Gunzo. Both of them are, having pieces from whether it is Masters Universe at Super 7 or Paul Kaiju and Bawana Spoons at Gunzo. Great stuff to do outside of the con. Monkey King has a party. We'll put that banner up right here. Great stuff. I mean, I really wish that I could be there. Just it's super expensive to go. It's really hard to find a hotel as well.
I think what we need is to sleep on a boat and just kind of bob around in the ocean and like bring the boat in when it's time for STC. See, it's done for the day. We just go out to the ocean.
I've also,
come back in.
I guess like they're to the point now of like sleeping outside. Like they're not, people are just like camping out in front of the convention center. Like they're not even trying to get a hotel. Like they're just packing a chair, sleeping in the chair. Can you imagine how bad that smells on the convention floor? Like day 3, like day 1.
Imagine
you
finding
probably,
a bathroom, even though you're in the ocean.
just finding the bathroom in the ocean. But like, can you imagine how bad those people have to smell if they're sleeping outside and then like going around the convention the next day, like with all the sweat? I mean,
well, I think I don't know if it evens out, but people sweating with a million people around, it's probably just going to be just as bad as someone who just shit their pants outside the previous night.
Wow. Wow. People are now defecating before they go to the convention. That's just speculation that Ben has brought up, but be safe. That's another one. If you're at SDCC, be safe, because I'm sometimes worried about people's safety in giant groups of people like that. And also just, people trying to get exclusives and stuff like that. Make sure to check out some panels. There's great things if you happen to be in the action figure world, things like Masters Universe, Matty Collector, they'll have an awesome panel. There's
something that got bumped up was Pokemon Go. It got upgraded.
Yeah.
To Hall H.
Yeah, it did. After it had the largest download in North America history, I believe I saw somewhere. So I would say that got bumped up. Make sure to check out Kevin Smith's his panel in Hall H. Also, there's also really cool stuff going on as far as the designer toy. Well, it's independent toy, right? The Toy Break is hosting their panel.
Thing in pajamas.
Yeah, so if you want to check that out, that's a really cool panel to check out. There's tons of stuff, not just stuff you have to buy. There's things to check out that are just cool and awesome. So I'm sure we'll see a lot of reveals. That's what I'm most excited about San Diego is hopefully we'll get some reveals from maybe like Kid Robot. DKE, maybe we'll have some stuff that's possibly coming out later in the year.
Jermaine needs to show off his vinyl figure.
Yeah, we'll hopefully get some more information on Jermaine's piece. 3D Retro has a tendency of showing off new stuff. And
they showed off a photo of what they're supposed to have, but they never sent out information.
Yeah, so that was kind of spacey, but they had some great stuff from Bit a Critter. They had what's the bunny?
The bunny with?
Is it a bunny with?
From Alex Pardee?
Yeah, they had a bunny with. They had the Ron English figure.
And Gary Baseman.
And they revealed today that 2-Bit Hack is continuing his bootleg series of Spaceballs, which if you know anything about Spaceballs, they cannot create toys based on Spaceballs as of right now. So 2-Bit Hack has taken upon himself to create very, very quiet bootlegs. And in the past, there's been a couple of different figures. And now, he's taken on the spaceship.
The Winnebago.
And he's bootlegged the heck out of that. So make sure to head over to 3D Retro's booth and check that out. That's kind of the wrap up that we kind of have of things that we've seen that we weren't able to cover. We know Roto Fuji has a ton of stuff that they have at their booth, but we didn't get that stuff all together. So make sure to check the blog later this week. We'll have that information.
Or if you live in Los Angeles and can't go to San Diego, Subliminal Projects is something that's opening up that relates to Bad Brains.
Yeah, with stuff from One Shepherd Ferry. So there's some pieces there from him based on the band Bad Brains. So really cool to see that. There'll probably be I'd imagine some cool people hanging out at that show too.
Likely the bad brains.
Likely the bad brains. So, but that kind of wraps up this week's show. As always, you can check us out at urbanvinyldaily.com, where we cover things that we don't post on here, or
or just reiterate it.
We just say it over and over again until you buy it. The other way you can keep up with us is checking out Instagram and Twitter at Urban Vinyl Daily. There you can keep up with our more recent antics and things like collections and other cool stuff we see that we don't just don't get to post about. Also, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel right here. You can like and comment below. You can share our videos. We always love when people share our videos. If you want to contact us, you can always send over an email to urbanvinyldaily@gmail.com. And if you want to give us a fan letter, we'll read that on the air in the future. If you want to talk to us about sponsorships or just want to have us talk about your piece or review it or anything like that, that is the best way to get in contact with us.
Not Facebook.
Not Facebook Messenger. We get a lot of Facebook messages, and it's really hard for us to keep up with those. And it's just not the most effective way to get a hold of us. So at urbanvinyldaily@gmail.com, best way to get a hold of us. You can always listen to us on not only YouTube, but also iTunes, Stitcher, and Podbean by checking out Token Nerd Network on iTunes, Stitcher, or Podbean. And if you like the more nerdy side of things, you can always check out the other podcast that I'm on, Token Nerd, by checking out their Instagram at token_nerd, or heading over to tokennerd.com for more info. Episode 10 in the can.
It's in the books.
In the books.
38 minutes.
38 minutes. It's not really 38 minutes because there's a little bit of extra time on there.
We could,
but
we could drag it out. Drag it out. Drag it out.
No more dragon. As always, I'm Travis.
Dragon. And I'm Ben. Good night.
And have a great designer toy day.
And week.
Hey everyone, this is Travis Likens from Token Nerd Podcast, and I'm here today to tell you something about sponsorship. That's right, Token Nerd now has a sponsor. The fine folks at TenaciousToys.com, your source for designer toys, pop vinyl, original art, and more, are now our sponsor. And guess what? As a part of that, you can get 10% off your next order at TenaciousToys.com by entering the code TOKEN10 at checkout. That's right, 10% off. And not only are they giving you this code, they're also going to be sponsoring many of our Token Nerd giveaways in the next coming months. So make sure to follow us at token_nerd on Instagram to catch our latest giveaways.